The disturbing new details about what led up to the execution-style murders of 2 teenagers.
And I said, just help me, just guide me to the right person. And I guess that's what he sent me right here.
A wish granted, a friendship found, and all over something many of us take for granted.
A badger on the CU campus. You can save the Big Ten football jokes. The school was clearly concerned, but a campus-wide alert? Really?
It just becomes a joy to pursue perfection as you try to create something iconic where people stand back and say, wow.
Hours of work by one artist to honor a career that led a Denver Bronco to the Hall of Fame.
Almost 5 months after 2 teenagers were found murdered south of Colorado Springs, we now know why authorities arrested 10 people. A judge released the arrest warrants just a short time ago. 9 News reporter Marshall Zellinger has those, and he's been digging through them. Marshall, one of the suspects told the deputy that the teens were murdered over a stolen purse?
Yeah, the gruesome details, which I won't get into, detail why 2 teens were murdered and left on the side of the road near a fountain, which is just south of Colorado Springs. 16-year-old Natalie Cano Partida and her friend Derek Greer, who was only 15, were killed in March. We found out through the release of the arrest documents that they were shot multiple times. What happened at the scene south of Colorado Springs has been kept sealed. Until today, we only knew 10 people had been arrested, with charges ranging from their murders to kidnapping and robbery. One of those arrested, this man, Gustavo Marquez, who is only 19 years old. His affidavit reveals detectives used GPS technology to pinpoint the suspect's cell phone locations the night of the murder. Another suspect told detectives the shooting was over a stolen purse. Well, the warrant for Marquez details how they stopped at a gas station after the shooting to make it appear they were in Colorado Springs, and that another one of the suspects told him to make up an alibi.
All right, Marshall, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
You want to see me and my friend together.
People come to Summit Rehabilitation Care and Community for different reasons. While Diane Bolton is getting rehab after an accident,
I'm 60 now.
She's also bonding with another resident.
I didn't have to hardly help you at all with that one.
Who is giving her something even more valuable.
Like what you're doing right now.
Something she has waited those 6 decades to learn.
Reading A.
Just reads.
Reads A.
That resident is Anna Bush.
But we just kind of basically started from the beginning with vowel sounds and...
I said I need to start off at some little small books. Everyone
there you go.
Is.
For the past 2 months, 2 days a week,
what he's doing.
These two have been having reading lessons.
He eats banana sandwiches.
There you go.
It's been a struggle for Bolton since childhood.
I can't read, and it's embarrassing to me. And then some of my friends were teasing me about it. She can't read, she's illiterate, she's dumb. I'm a long way from being dumb.
She hid her anger and turned to prayer.
And I said, just help me, just guide me to the right person. And I guess that's what he sent me right here.
You know, I got through some college, and I mean, if I can't further my education, let me further somebody else's education, you know? That one we're still working on.
So far, they have finished 2 books.
We got some tough words in that one.
There are still hurdles.
We're gonna get it though.
Oh yeah.
Day by day, her skill grows.
Bedtime.
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 Yeah, there you go.
And as that happens, so does this friendship.
Sometimes it gets so good, she has to say it's getting close to dinner time.
She gets so carried away, she doesn't want to quit.
I don't want to quit. And it just feels so good to know how to read a little bit.
There you go.
A wrong-way crash on I-70 near the foothills killed 2 people and snarled eastbound traffic for much of the day. That crash happened near the Morrison exit, and drivers sat for hours in a 6-mile backup that extended almost as far as Evergreen Parkway. 9 News reporter Victoria Sanchez went to the scene. Victoria, what exactly happened here?
Christine, CSP says around 11 this morning, a 54-year-old man in a pickup truck was headed west on I-70 when he abruptly veered down an embankment and into the eastbound lanes, hitting 4 other vehicles. That driver, Jeffrey Stump of Evergreen, was taken to the hospital where he died. CSP says after he drove through the brush at highway speeds, he hit a Toyota 4Runner and that the two vehicles crashed into each other violently. 52-year-old Jody Stewart of Idaho Springs was killed and was at the scene with a 17-year-old boy who was also in her SUV. He had minor injuries. There isn't much left of the 4Runner after firefighters took off the roof to get to the two people inside. The white pickup truck also hit two Jeeps and an Accord. Noelle Vanlerberge wanted to see the accident for herself after hearing her friends were in the red Jeep when it was hit.
I heard that they were okay. There were obviously some injuries, but it was a relief to hear. And, you know, recognizing their car in the pictures and stuff, that was pretty scary because I realized, like, oh my God, I've seen that car before, you know. It's hard to believe that anyone survived. I mean, it looks that bad.
7 people were taken to the hospital. CSP is looking into why this happened and whether drugs or alcohol were involved or if there was a medical issue. I-70 reopened just before 6:30. Christine, that made it a 7.5-hour closure.
Oh, what a sad situation. All right, Victoria, thank you.
For a time today, the CU campus was told to watch out for a badger. It was not the lovable Bucky the Badger, the University of Wisconsin mascot. Also turned out the real badger was not as dangerous as CU first described. The truth is somewhere in the middle of that graphic. In the alert, CU called the badger rare and extremely dangerous. Colorado Parks and Wildlife beg to differ. They say badgers are rare in the heart of Boulder, although they have been seen in Estes Park. As for extremely dangerous, state wildlife workers say badgers won't badger us unless provoked or if they're defending their young. We put students to test on their knowledge of badgers, which frankly is a little sparse.
So Tyler, how much do you know about badgers?
I don't know a whole lot about badgers. They're just normal animals to me, yeah.
True or false? When it comes to badgers, Colorado is a natural habitat for badgers.
I don't think so. True.
True? You got that one right. True or false? Buffaloes are natural predators of badgers.
I'd say probably false.
They are not normal predators, except on the football field, am I right?
I'll take your word for it.
All right, not as funny as I thought it was.
True.
See, awkward television is good television. Wisconsin fans, alumni, even the university were having some great fun with this today. Wisconsin tweeted out they think badgers are ferocious, and they've called CU's representative home.
Just how do you immortalize the Hall of Fame career of Terrell Davis? A career carved by so many memorable moments.
TD has a great head. He's got a really strong bone structure.
A career that chipped its way to Canton yard by yard.
He's got great cheekbones.
A career well defined in Broncos history books.
He has a really neat chin. He's got that dimple in the middle of his chin.
In a studio nestled within the Provo, Utah mountain range works a man with a great passion of his own.
It just becomes a joy to pursue perfection as you try to create something iconic, whether it's a beloved football player or whether it's a sculpture of a female figure or whatever I'm asked to do or whatever I feel like doing. I just want it to be excellent where people stand back and say, wow.
For sculptor Ben Hammond, bringing a lump of clay to life is his gift.
What really sets it off is getting it right at the very beginning, the overall shape of the head. So you got to block in those big, strong features. And if you don't have those right, it's like putting lipstick on a pig. You can get every little minute detail, but if the overall shape of the head's off, it's always going to look out of whack.
In order to ensure a perfect likeness, Hammond met Terrell Davis in a Los Angeles hotel for a Hall of Fame modeling session.
TD was great. He loved to come, he'd stand there and then he'd come and look what I was doing, and every once in a while I'd turn, you know, because for the most part they're seeing the back of the head. So every once in a while I'd turn it around and he'd get to see, and he's like, wow.
Getting to see Davis in person not only helps the bust take form, it builds their relationship.
We talked about ancestry. I was like, have you done your ancestry DNA? I'm wondering what, where your heritage is from. It's very West African, very much like Ghanese or Nigerian. And he's like, I think it's Nigerian. Every culture, every race has different bone structure.
Now look over and I'll glance at him every once in a while and he's piercing it. He's like, and I've never had anybody stare at me that much and that closely. And it's kind of eerie, it's spooky.
Even Terrell's family members had input on how the bust was progressing.
Wives are always really great with the mouth barrel, with the lips and the chin. That seems to be something they're always like, oh, you got to get his lips just right and his eyes just right. And so it's interesting because they always seem to really be nervous about critiquing what I'm doing, but I want that criticism because it helps me get it right. And unless they say, well, that's not right, I mean, I don't take it personally. I accept the fact that they know what their husband or father looks like a lot better than I do.
Are you sitting in this comfortable chair?
Mm-hmm. 8 straight hours we were at it. He wanted it to be great, and he knew that he had to put in the time, and as hard as it was for him just to sit still in one place for that long, he did it.
After the California meeting, it's back to Utah for the finishing touches to the clay bust.
I think we're about there.
Then it's off to the foundry where the bronze bust will go through an evolution similar to TD's magnificent football career. TD's legacy as a Super Bowl MVP, a 2,000-yard rusher, and Denver Bronco.
He'll be a great ambassador for the game and for the Hall of Fame.
Will forever be sealed in bronze.